Indonesia, the thousand-faced archipelago. If there were ever a place that could embody the phrase, a world within a country, it would be Indonesia. Picture this, more than 17,000 islands scattered across two oceans, each with its own rhythm, traditions, languages, and mysteries. This is a land where smoking volcanoes rise above emerald rice fields, where dragons stalk their prey on sun-scorched savannas, where ancient temples whisper stories of forgotten kingdoms, and where 270 million people somehow weave all of this diversity into one national identity. Indonesia is not just big, it's immense. Stretching over 5,000 kilometers from west to east, it spans nearly the same width as the continental United States. From the tip of Aceh in Sumatra to the jungles of Papua, you cross 3 time zones, countless ecosystems, and cultural worlds so different that you could swear you've traveled across multiple countries. The land of endless islands. Indonesia is the world's largest archipelago nation, straddling the equator right where the Indian and Pacific Oceans meet. Depending on who you ask, the number of islands varies. Some agencies say around 13,500, others push the count to over 18,000. The government officially recognizes about 17,500, with roughly 900 permanently inhabited. That's more islands than you could ever visit in a lifetime. At the heart of it all lies Java, home to the capital Jakarta and nearly half of Indonesia's population. Jakarta alone, with over 30 million people in its metropolitan area, is one of the most crowded urban regions on Earth, a city of skyscrapers, clogged traffic, and boundless energy. But Java isn't just about chaos. It's also where you'll find ancient temples like Borobudur and Prambanan, terraced rice fields, and a cultural heartbeat that pulses through the nation. Then there's Sumatra, a wild land of orangutans, tigers, elephants, and vast rainforests, but also of devastating volcanoes and earthquakes. Borneo, or Kalimantan, as Indonesians call it, is a green giant, shared with Malaysia and Brunei, filled with rivers so long they seem endless and forests where the Dayak people preserve centuries-old traditions. Sulawesi, with its bizarre tentacle-shaped outline, holds some of Indonesia's strangest and most fascinating cultures, from the cliffside graves of the Toraja to the Bajo Sea nomads who live almost entirely on boats. Bali, small but world-famous, is a Hindu island of temples and ceremonies surrounded by surfers and tourists chasing sunsets. And finally, Papua, the eastern frontier, where rugged mountains rise from impenetrable jungles, and tribes maintain traditions that seem timeless. A volcanic cauldron. Indonesia sits directly on the Ring of Fire, one of the most geologically unstable regions in the world. It's squeezed between the Eurasian, Pacific, and Australian tectonic plates, with dozens of smaller microplates grinding against each other. The result? Over 400 volcanoes, more than 150 of them active, and an average of 4 earthquakes every single day. The landscape is a constant reminder of both beauty and danger. Mount Merapi, near Yogyakarta, erupts so often that locals refer to it as a fiery neighbor rather than a disaster. Krakatoa, whose legendary 1883 eruption shook the world, lies quietly, for now. Tambora, which erupted in 1815, created the infamous year without a summer that caused famine as far away as Europe. And Lake Toba in Sumatra marks the site of a supereruption 74,000 years ago that nearly drove humanity to extinction. Yet these same forces bless Indonesia with some of the most fertile soils on Earth. Vast rice terraces climb mountain slopes, tropical forests thrive, and plantations of coffee, cocoa, and spices stretch across the land. Without its volcanoes, Indonesia wouldn't be the lush paradise it is today. Flora, fauna, and the untamed wild. When it comes to biodiversity, Indonesia ranks second only to Brazil. Its islands are living laboratories where Asian and Australian species meet, divided by the famous Wallace Line, an invisible boundary that explains why tigers roam Sumatra while marsupials thrive in Papua. Here you'll find the Rafflesia arnoldii, the world's largest flower, which can grow over a meter wide and smells like rotting meat. The Titan arum, another corpse flower, towers like a botanical skyscraper. Rainforests shelter gibbons, hornbills, clouded leopards, and countless insects yet to be named by science. And of course, the stars of the archipelago. The Komodo dragon, the largest lizard on Earth, with venomous bites capable of killing prey, and occasionally humans. The orangutan, one of our closest relatives, found only in Sumatra and Borneo. Gentle in appearance but immensely strong, they face critical threats from deforestation. The elusive Sumatran tiger, one of the rarest big cats in the world. Coral reefs that make Indonesia part of the Coral Triangle, the most diverse marine region on Earth, with over 2,000 species of reef fish. It's a natural wonderland, but also a fragile one. Deforestation, mining, and climate change threaten many of these treasures, making Indonesia both a biodiversity hotspot and a conservation battlefield. People of 1,000 identities. Indonesia is home to more than 270 million people, making it the fourth most populous country in the world. The majority are Muslim, giving Indonesia the world's largest Muslim population, though the practice here is often blended with local traditions. In Bali, Hinduism dominates. In parts of Papua and the Eastern Islands, Christianity thrives. Officially, every Indonesian must identify with one of 6 recognized religions: Islam, Protestantism, Catholicism, Hinduism, Buddhism, or Confucianism. Ethnically, Indonesia is a kaleidoscope. Over 300 ethnic groups and 700 languages create an intricate mosaic. The Javanese and Sundanese dominate in numbers, but you'll also meet Batak clans in Sumatra, Balinese Hindu communities, Dayak forest dwellers, Papuan tribes, Bugis sailors, and countless others. Each group brings its own rituals, dances, cuisines, and art forms. The unifying glue is Bahasa Indonesia, a Malay-based national language chosen for its neutrality. It allows communication across the islands, though most Indonesians are multilingual, speaking local languages at home and English or other tongues in business. Culture and traditions. Indonesian culture is as diverse as its people. You'll encounter wayang kulit, shadow puppet plays telling stories from Hindu epics. Gamelan, haunting ensembles of gongs and metallophones. The Paula festival in Sumba, where horsemen engage in mock battles. The Carapan Sapi bull races of Madura. Elaborate Toraja funerals, where buffalo are sacrificed and the dead are honored in cliffside tombs. The colorful processions of Balinese Hindu ceremonies, with offerings carried to temples by entire villages. Modern Indonesia adds its own twists: pop stars, YouTubers, filmmakers, and martial arts legends like Pencak Silat fighters. The mix of old and new creates a vibrant cultural scene unlike anywhere else. Food, a feast of flavors. If there's one thing Indonesians agree on, it's their love of food. Every region has specialties. Rendang, spicy slow-cooked beef, often voted the world's most delicious dish. Satay, skewered meat grilled and drenched in peanut sauce. Nasi goreng, the national dish, fried rice with endless variations. Gado-gado, vegetables with peanut sauce. Papeda, sago porridge from eastern Indonesia. Bakso meatballs, pempek fish cakes, lemang sticky rice, and countless sambals, chili pastes, that can melt your tongue. Food is more than nourishment, it's identity, history, and diplomacy on a plate. A story of kingdoms and colonies. Indonesia's past is a patchwork of kingdoms and empires: Hindu Majapahit, Buddhist Srivijaya, Islamic sultanates, Portuguese traders, and finally the Dutch, who ruled for over 300 years. During World War II, Japan occupied the islands, weakening Dutch control. In 1945, after centuries of foreign rule, Indonesia declared independence under its first president, Sukarno. The decades that followed were turbulent: authoritarian rule under Suharto, economic booms and crashes, conflicts in East Timor and Papua, and a long struggle toward democracy. Today, Indonesia is the world's third-largest democracy and one of its fastest-growing economies. Indonesia and the world. In diplomacy, Indonesia is a heavyweight of Southeast Asia. It's a founding member of ASEAN, part of the G20, and a crucial voice in global climate and trade talks. With its vast population, young workforce, and strategic location, it's seen as one of the rising powers of the 21st century. Relations with neighbors can be complex. With Malaysia, there's a love-hate dynamic, disputes over culture and borders, but deep shared heritage. With Australia, cooperation in trade and disaster relief is balanced by occasional frictions over migration and politics. With the Netherlands, ties remain close despite colonial scars. And Japan, once an invader, is now one of Indonesia's closest economic partners. Conclusion: the spirit of the islands. Indonesia is not one country, but 1,000. Its volcanoes and beaches, skyscrapers and jungles, ancient rituals and modern pop culture, chaos and harmony. It's a place where contradictions collide, yet somehow, unity prevails. Like its islands, scattered yet connected by the sea, Indonesia's people remain bound together by resilience, creativity, and a shared story of survival and renewal. It is a land that cannot be summed up in a single phrase. To understand Indonesia is to embrace its many faces, wild, diverse, unpredictable, and endlessly fascinating.